So to wrap up this three-part series of the gear that all your favorite YouTubers use, I really want to thank the creators that sent clips in. The submissions I received were way beyond what I ever thought I would get. So it was a lot of fun, and I hope it gave you some insight as to how these things are made, how different people do different things, and some of the differences in them as well. I've decided that I'm gonna do a full-on studio tour, take you around this place, and do that. I'm gonna do that in another video, but yeah. Again, without further ado, I'm gonna let the creators that you really came here to watch take over.
Hey everybody, I'm Curtis Fry with Fly Fish Food. We have a website and we do lots of videos, both tutorials, fly tying wise, also fishing videos, and I do a lot of photography. So here's a quick breakdown of all the gear we use. As a primary camera, I use the Sony Alpha 1 camera. It's a full frame camera, and I'll primarily use a few different lenses with that. This one's kind of my fishing all-around lens. It's a 1 to 300 millimeter lens, so we can get tight if we're on a boat. My trusty 90 millimeter macro lens, which I film all of our videos with for fly tying. I also use this on the water to take pictures of bugs and small things like that. And then probably an all-around video if we're in tighter quarters is a 24 millimeter 1.4 Sony G Master lens. And also I'll have a backup camera, so I have the Sony Alpha 7 III or A7 III, and it's also full frame. So that's what we use for cameras. In addition, we use iPhones and GoPros sometimes when we need to. From the audio standpoint, we use the Shure SM7B microphones for podcasts and other things where we're doing stationary audio. When we're out on the water, we'll use a Rode, which I'm using right now. Hook that up to a separate audio mixer with a preamp that goes to a digital recording device. And then when we're on the water, it goes directly into the camera. For lights, we have a lot of lights here. These are all controlled by Alexa in our podcasting studio. They're just LED lights. You can change the temperature of them. Got a ring light over here for tutorials mostly, but also we can throw that in for some key lighting on podcasts. Some other key lights, LED panels, and a softbox. So when we do podcasts or other in-studio photo or videography, photo work, we'll use kind of a combination of those. And then for the tutorials, it's mostly the ring light with a couple of other accent lights. And when we're on the water, we just use the sun. So that's about it for photos and videos and all the equipment we use. There's not one thing that does the trick, but I think it's important to have a macro lens, and it's important to have a range of lenses that's going to cover the range of photos and video that you'll be taking. So that's what we use. Nerd it up.
Hi everybody, I'm Tim from troutandfeather.com, and though I've been tying flies and fly fishing for over 30 years, we're going to concentrate on the videos that I've been making for nearly a decade. I'm going to go over basically some of the video cameras that I've used, and without a doubt, my #1 tip in making your own fly tying videos. In videos, we always start with the cameras, the body. My first video that I like to use, my first recorder, was basically a little camcorder. What was nice about it, I had a little remote control and it allowed me to zoom in and see the fly a little bit enlarged and then zoom back out. Same thing whenever I was speaking. However, I wanted something with a little better macro ability. So what I upgraded to was a Canon Rebel. What was great about this Canon Rebel was that it was just high quality. The lens on it was so much better. Now, it was what they call a crop sensor, which is actually really nice because it kind of enlarges that fly or the image for you a little bit better. But then eventually I wanted to upgrade one more time, and there's always going to be that one more time, and I jumped up to another Canon, and this one's a 6D Mark II. It's considered a full frame camera. What was nice about this one that I'm still using to record this very video is that it has a screen that flips out so I can watch myself if I'm so inclined to make sure kind of everything's in frame, make sure the fly's in focus, and that when I hold up materials, they're being held in front of the camera. So it's been a really great camera for me. However, I'm still kind of getting the itch to jump into some other 4K options. I have a 4K camera that I carry on the water, but that's another story. You're gonna hear some other great tips from tyers in this video, and here's mine. it has all about the ability to control the focus. Basically, auto versus manual focus. Right now, while I'm recording this, my lens is set to autofocus. So you can see me, I should be in perfect focus. And what's cool about it, if I move like this, the focus should move with me. And that's really cool. However, when you're tying flies, I don't like it set to autofocus. I like manual focus because more than likely that fly is going to be relatively stationary. And there's the really tricky thing about autofocus when you're tying a fly. If you're moving your hands behind the vise or off to the side or even on you, the camera may focus there and take the focus off the hook. So if you're thinking about upgrading and buying a new camera, look for one that has the ability to have a manual focus when you're tying those flies. Good luck with everything, and if you have any questions, I know you can reach out to all the tyers in this video, to Brian, or you can reach out to me at troutandfeather.com. Good luck.
Hi, I'm AJ Gottschalk and I work for Allen Fly Fishing. I do our Friday fly tying videos, and much like those videos themselves, I like for my filming setup to be as simple as possible. I started out using a Sony a6300 mirrorless camera, and in that case I was using a 50mm prime lens, and it's great for situations like this. However, I've moved on to using a Sony a7 III, which is a full-frame camera. It's going to have a very similar lens in a Sony 50mm prime lens, but as it's a full frame, I will often crop down in post. Really, what I'm trying to show here is the fly itself. You don't necessarily need to see me for most of these situations, and you'd probably rather see the fly. However, there's two options here that I can use to tighten up that focusing area. The first is a longer prime lens like this 70-300. More importantly, what I use regularly is this beauty right here, which is a 10mm extension tube. What it does is allows me to drop that minimum focusing distance, so not only is it better for allowing me to show a tighter image of a larger fly like this, but it is crucial for when I'm tying smaller flies like nymphs or smaller dry flies. Now, to accommodate changes in the lighting situation, I'll use a little light cube like this Litra. These are great little units. They're rechargeable, they're waterproof so I can bring them around, they're small, and more importantly, they are incredibly bright. Again, keeping it simple, I'll often just set this unit right on my camera and roll from there. Another important addition is off-camera microphones. I use a Sennheiser Mark 400 microphone. It is a shotgun microphone. It's picking up most of the things right about directly in front of it. It's just going to get crisper audio than I would get from the standard camera microphone. In addition, obviously crucial is a tripod. I use one of these little Gorilla Pods. It's flexible. It allows me to keep a stable situation here. Unless, of course, I bang the table or something like that and I'll get a little bit of camera shutter. So hopefully that clears up my setup a little bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what yours is.
What's up, everybody? It's Yvonne with Trout's Fly Fishing, here to talk about some of the gear we use for our YouTube videos. Obviously, shout out to Brian, Fly Fishing the Ozarks. Appreciate you including us in this cool collaboration amongst the fly fishing community. So obviously, it's an honor. Yeah, appreciate it, Brian. So we get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to take the opposite approach. We saw some creators in the last episode that had super minimalist setups, and more power to them. I think telling the story with super minimalist, you can tell great stories with a super minimalist setup. We're going to take the opposite approach. I'm the overdo the gear guy, so get ready for too many lenses, probably too many cameras, and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to start off first and foremost. We use the A7S III. I love this camera. I've been shooting Sony for like 7-8 years now, so I'm a Sony fanboy. Primarily shoot with the Sigma 24-70 2.8. Maybe my personal favorite lens, the Sigma 35-1.4. Something that I'm starting to use more and more is this Sigma 105 2.8 macro. I love this lens. And then finally, workhorse for me, the Sony FE 7200 f4. For audio, the Rode Wireless Go 2s, and so these have one receiver and two transmitters, so it allows me to mic up 2 people, so if we're doing a 5 flies, we can have multiple mics, which is always good. And then, you know, I light everything with, I think it's a Godox SL60W, and then it has a 36-inch Easy Lock Octabox softbox, or something like that. It's a softbox, it diffuses the light. I'm going to guess our YouTube channel is more known for the sort of out on the water sort of stuff, and so 2 of the things that I use more out on the water. So first and foremost, Deity shotgun mic. It's been good. I've run through several shotgun mics because I have a tendency of dropping them in the water. That one's been around for quite a bit. And then an underrated piece of gear for me is this small rig cold shoe handle. So I mounted on top of the camera, put the microphone on top, but it's a good sort of gives me Steadicam effects without having to, or gimbal effects without having to set up a gimbal. I don't like carrying too much gear when I'm out on the river. Obviously, I just named off way too much gear there, but I like to try to keep it as minimal as possible. But I love this thing. It allows you to get some smooth camera movements, especially when you're walking. And then for bag nerds out there, I'm using an older generation Komodo, I think, or Shimoda backpack. I really like this backpack for carrying all the gear and stuff like that. And then somewhere at home, forgot to bring it in today, is the Mavic Air 2, which we use for our drone shots. So appreciate you guys tuning in. This is probably too long, so Brian, I apologize in advance. Thanks for dealing with all that stupid techie stuff. You know, if you guys are ever in the Denver area, you know, hit us up. We have a shop here and then a shop up in Frisco. You can also see it at troutflyfishing.com. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hi, my name is Devin Olsen. I run a site called tacticalflyfisher.com. The site is basically dedicated to bringing you gear and techniques that I've learned in my years of competing with Fly Fishing Team USA. On our YouTube channel, we focus on trying to teach you how to fish better. So we do a lot of videos about how to read the water, or how to use higher level Euro nymphing techniques, rock style stillwater fly fishing, and then also fly tying tutorials. As far as our camera equipment goes, we've got a little bit of everything. Mostly at this point we're running Sony, so this footage right now is being shot on a Sony FS5, but we also have a Sony Alpha 1 that's a little bit smaller camera that we can run and gun with a little bit better. And different characteristics of the slow-mo in each of those cameras is a little bit different, so depending upon the shot we want, we might use one or the other. Also, we have Rode Link wireless mics that we do most of our audio with, so we can get distance audio. Sometimes we'll run a shotgun mic on one camera and the Rode Link on another. And then we just have a small little mini drone, the Mavic Mini, that we get most of our drone footage from. And if we happen to be shooting a fly tying tutorial, I have an old Panasonic GH5 that I shoot those on just because I still have a macro lens for them. And of course, if we have an underwater shot, I have a GoPro Hero 9 that we shoot our underwater shots with. When it comes to stabilizing our shots, we either use a monopod, a tripod, a shoulder mount for our FS5, or sometimes a gimbal for the smaller mirrorless cameras. So that way we don't get super shaky footage. We hope you'll come on over and see some of our videos on our Tactical Fly Fisher channel, and that you'll subscribe to it, of course. And then afterward, come on over to tacticalflyfisher.com, and if you have any questions for us, shoot us an email at the address at the bottom of the page. Thanks for watching.
What's up, guys? My name's Nathan from Allegheny Native. Started a YouTube channel going on 5 to 6 years now, doing some fly fishing, cinematic style fly fishing, and my 2 buddies started it with me, Caleb Stasko and Joel Snedden, and we like to bring you along on the ride as we kind of travel all around Pennsylvania and fly fish for trout, whether it be wild trout, stock trout, doesn't really matter, we like them all. So I'm just going to go over some camera gear with you guys. I like to film, I have a Canon R5, it's actually what I'm filming with right now. and it's a good all-around camera, pictures, you know, video, photography. You can it's pretty much a do-it-all camera, and really it's doing well for us. So another piece of equipment that I just recently got is a drone, the DJI Air 2S, and I've also just started tinkering with that too, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. The microphone that we use, we have the Rode, I believe it's the Pro Plus. It does just fine for us. I've thought about getting the external, you know, the lab mics, just for a little bit better audio, but this thing seems to do fine with the dead cat on it that kind of muffles out the background noise. We have a stream right here, and I'm sure you can probably hear me pretty well, so it really gets the job done for us. One thing is, like, you don't really need all this like high-end expensive gear. Like, I have my camera, I have a drone, but when it comes to tripods, I have like a cheap, just like bottom of the line Manfrotto tripod that I got. I think it might have been 50 bucks. Just, you don't need to go crazy. Just do what you can to make content. That's what it's all about. Whether you have a cell phone, a GoPro, doesn't really matter. Just get out, whether you're filming hunting or fishing or anything that you want to film, any content, just get out and make it. It doesn't have to be with all this high-end gear. Just get out, make it, and that's what content is all about. Enjoy it. That's really what it's all about. Being out, enjoying what you're creating, and telling your story. All right. Thanks, guys.